Recording in progress.
Welcome to the Palm Springs Public Arts Commission meeting of November 15th, 2023. It is 5:30 p.m. Jake, could you do call to order?
Commissioner Burns.
Here.
Commissioner Favreau.
Here.
Commissioner Shelton.
Here.
Commissioner Silvera.
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
Vice Chair Newkirk.
Here.
Chair Armstrong.
Present.
We have quorum.
Presentations. I believe we have a presentation from Mr. Noble.
Yes, Mr. Noble, are you prepared to give your presentation, and would you like to control the screen?
I thought you had all that.
I have the images. If you'd like
Images and the video.
yes, the video also.
That'd be great. And the letter, I don't know if you were able to print out the letter for everybody.
You're speaking about the email.
From the Barones.
Barones, I don't have that printed, but I believe it was in our package or emailed that to the commissioners.
Right. Okay, good.
Which would you like first? Video?
Give me the video, just a little introduction of who I am and why I've come to the Art Commission. A little bit of background. And then we'll go to the images. So I shot this video at Francis Stevens Park, where I'm hoping that the idea of, I know that Rhonda Hart has been long seeking something for Pride, but this particular sculpture, I think I'm just sort of playing with the name equity. Were the pictures able to be printed out, or is that another day?
I have them for on screen and they were provided.
Mr. Noble, I see your video is 6 minutes.
Residents in Palm Springs,
Doesn't need to be that long.
I see your video is 6.5 minutes. How long do you think your entire presentation will take?
Why don't we just skip the video?
Jake, you can send that link to the commission and then we'll be able to review it.
If people want to see it, they could view it, right?
Yeah. Okay, we'll skip the video.
Yeah.
Right, the image is on the Zoom screen.
Okay, so do you want me to talk?
Yes.
Okay, so many years ago, I went to all the businesses on Arenas, and I asked all the business owners if they would like if we should do a rainbow sidewalk, and they sort of all agreed. And then as I watched West Hollywood and San Francisco, what they did with their sidewalks with the rainbow, and just the wear and tear and how sort of awful it looked over a period of time, I pulled the idea that was with Jeff Kors as we were exploring this idea. So I started calling artists around the valley and to see if there wasn't something else that we can do. And I managed to get a hold of the Barones, and I told them about my walk across America with the rainbow flag. And they just sort of like jumped out of their chair because they had this sketch that they had done a couple years ago, and they actually gave me this copy. And what this is sort of this, there's actually the idea is to have 5 figures, one for LGBTQ, and then a dog. The reason we added the dog is because the dog that I had walked with me across 5 states, and a lot of people love their pet. So this is sort of their idea. And can you go to the actual two sculptures. So there's the dog. Happy. And that's,
And I don't have the actual two sculptures that you had in there.
yeah, there was, I sent you one with the two 10-foot sculptures to see what they look like.
Yeah, I'll have to send those out to the commission also.
Okay. So I talked to the mayor and I talked to Rhonda Hart, and Ron was all like, you know, he kind of would, if anything that the commission sort of wants to go yes with, that you know, that he'll get behind. So, and I know that Ron's been looking for something for a long time, as I have, and this would just be, this is 4 figures, but it would be actually 5 figures in the dog and the rainbow flag, because the Gilbert Baker, who created the rainbow flag, that was an all-inclusive flag. And then you could see the cement that they're standing on, and then around it would be lights, be lit up at night. And those are 10 feet tall. And the letter that they sent me sort of had the price point. I think we're starting out at $125,000. And I think it goes up to $150,000. So I just sort of wanted to present this idea as something that, you know, with all the legislative attacks on the gender identity and state legislation, we know how the Speaker of the House feels. This just is a cumulative of years and years, you know, decades and decades of activists around our country who have fought for equality. And we've made a lot of progress. And so this is just something I wanted to present to the commission, and to let you sort of, like, you know, sit with this idea. And I sent the actual figures are 10 feet tall, so they're very large, and I thought it would be really beautiful in Francis Stevens Park. So that's sort of my presentation. The dog, you have the little dog, Happy. So there's Happy. You could see how big he is. So he'll be right besides the figures of 6 LGBTQ, 5 figures on a cement where they get I guess bolted onto the cement so that they're permanent. I don't know what else I could say, but I think it's a great idea, and I think that I've showed it to a lot of people, and I've talked to quite a few people, and they love the idea. Just it's a matter of is this something that the commission would like to adopt and maybe take to the city council and see how they feel about it, and maybe get a vote.
As this is just a presentation, we will not have a discussion on it or vote on it or anything at this point. But thank you for your time, Mr. Noble. I think it's a worthy concept. Whether or not we take it up, we do have a full plate right now, which I'll be addressing later. But we will keep you in touch, and we will let you know if we have any further questions.
Yeah,
Jay will make
I have
video
nothing.
and-
Am I muted? So
No,
yeah,
I can hear.
just I think that the concept, just the sort of the plaque would just say equity. So it'd be like the equity sculpture and maybe a little writing under it.
Yeah.
My name not being involved. I'm just presenting the idea. And I could follow up and you know, if you guys want to, whatever you need, whatever information you need. The Baronis did send me an email with information, and I think Jay has it, and that you guys could all read it and see what their thoughts.
We their pieces in our collection.
Right.
So,
All right. Well, thank you.
thank you, Mr. Noble.
Bye.
Would someone like to make a motion on the acceptance of the agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to accept this agenda.
Second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Great.
Motion passes.
Public comments. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Public Arts Commission on items of general interest within the subject jurisdiction of the commission. And agenda items, if the member of the public cannot be present later at the meeting at the time of the agenda, the item is heard by the commission. Additionally, members of the public may address the commission on each item listed on the posted agenda at the time each item is heard. Although the Public Arts Commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on an item not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker. Jay, do we have any comments today?
Do we have any, one wishing to make public comments?
I'd like to make it really quickly.
Sure. Please, press the button so you can agree on the base and give your name.
My name is Logan Adair. I'm a
You can get
local.
closer to the,
Okay.
you can sit down.
Okay. My name is Logan Adair, and I'm a local artist that submitted a bid for the mural at the airport. And I just wanted to introduce myself, and if anybody had any questions about my bid or anything, just wanted to let y'all know that I'm here. And
So as the mural is on the agenda, perhaps you could stick around until we have that discussion, and then if there are any comments, then people can address them at that point.
Perfect.
I don't think they've all, we don't comment on anything unless it's here in the meeting, so.
Right, definitely. I just wanted to introduce
Okay,
myself, that's all.
good to know you're here.
Thank you.
Any other public speakers?
Hello, everybody. Do I need to push the button too?
It needs to be green, like your hair.
Thank you.
Not your
It's
sweater.
Merman. I'm just joking. I'm Everett Solomon, aka Jeff Pick, and I've been blessed to be able to work with you guys over the past few years. I made the fault line meditation and human element reminder. I was also chosen in 2019 with the 30 by 30 exhibition to create a glow in the dark crosswalks called the Hot Waters Crossing, and it represents the hot waters and the waterfalls that have sort of helped create the oasis that we live in. I would like to just say I've worked with the last 3 councils, and little by little it keeps moving forward, and this is the first time that I got to meet you, and I saw that you guys are doing some sidewalk art, and so I'll send a proposal to everybody if that's okay, just to show it and reintroduce it to you, but I'm very excited, so thank you.
Make sure you send your proposal to Jay rather than sending it to individual commissioners,
I got you.
and then we will circulate it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience or online wishing to make a public comment? That's it.
Yeah, I don't have anything scripted. I just want to sort of talk to your thought about some of the things I've been working on for the past week. I'll be addressing some of them on the agenda. But overall, what's happening is we have a lot of projects in the pipeline, a lot of stuff that was approved, a lot of stuff that's coming along to be installed. And every single one of the projects, everyone has hit roadblocks that you won't know about, the public doesn't know about, but Jay and I are dealing with on an hourly, daily basis roadblocks. And they generally involve dealing with other departments in City Hall. Because City Hall is so backed up and so overwhelmed with work. Little factoid for you, Measure J funds that they have all the money that we pay taxes to. They were told by the engineering department, the engineering department can't start any project until 25-26. They're so backed up. So the way we need to think of our work is we've got Jay. Jay has his regular job and he's arts liaison. And we have so many hours in the day that we can pick away at where we need Jay and engineering departments and legal department and communications departments assistance on things. So the bigger, the more important the things are going to get their attention. So that's why we're sort of pushing towards bigger installations, bigger projects, because everyone is going to take the same amount of time. 15 minutes with the engineering department, they're going to have 15 minutes over deciding on a utility box or 15 minutes on a big installation. It's the same thing for them. So we want to focus all of our efforts and their efforts on the same thing. And I've talked to a couple of you individually that we focus so much on financial budgeting. Everything is financial budgeting. What we need to do moving forward is temporal budgeting. We need to budget our time, and we need to budget city staff's time as well. So just know that we're pushing and we're getting stuff hopefully done. And some of these projects that the Arts Commission approved last year to be installed in October may get installed by January, maybe February, who knows? We can get stuff from the engineering department in place. But things are happening. And I'll address some of them in the other points on the end. I want everybody to think of that. We need to go as big. We've got money, but everything we touch has to go through every department of city staff, and they don't have time or bodies. Yeah.
Thank you. I guess I don't have any prepared statements either, but to piggyback on what Commissioner Armstrong said, I think, you know, the city prides itself on its public art and sees it as a real asset, and I know the city council believes that too. And I wish that the city budget and the staffing reflected that priority. And I think we could do a lot more if we had a dedicated arts coordinator like the city had at one time. I know that position was eliminated because of budget concerns several years ago. We're a volunteer commission, and we love Jay and his support that he's able to offer, but it is it's limited. And again, I think because of the scale of the work that we're trying to do here in the vision that Commissioner Armstrong is leading, my experience on the commission has been that the ideas can only go so far if we don't have a dedicated person that ideally I think would be a staff person pushing them along, and so much of that has fallen on the chair at this point. And I don't think that's ideal because that position changes and not everyone is going to have the dedication and time to put that work in. So it's just something to keep in mind, and I hope the city council keeps that in mind.
Approval of minutes. Oh, sorry. Okay, approval of minutes. Make a motion to approve the minutes from the meetings of July 19th, 2023, August 21st, 2023, September 20th, 2023, and October 18th, 2023. Anybody would like to make a motion on that? Approve the minutes.
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve July 19th, 2023, August 21, 2023, September 20th, 2023, and October 18th of the same year, 23.
Second,
I'd like a second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item for discussion is the ad hoc committee for the Richard Wyatt mural at Desert Highlands Gateway Community. I want to give some background on this program because a lot of the current commissioners may not be aware of it. And I circulated some photos. If you get to see. The mural was painted in 1997, so it is 26 years old. It faded pretty quickly. If anybody's been up there, it's a south-facing wall, unobstructed, and there's no vegetation, no shade preventative over it. And it was painted. It was a mural of it. So it faded pretty quickly, but it, you know, it was still a pride of the community, and it's still a tremendous sense of pride of the community. And then there was a lot of water damage from irrigation at the time. The community touched it up a few times. Obviously, they're not artists like Richard Wyatt, but they touched it up because it was their mural. Richard Wyatt came and touched it up again in 2014. And then it was decided that the whole thing needed to be professionally redone and retouched up and refurbished by Mr. Wyatt. There was a discussion within the Arts Commission on doing it as tile and doing it as mosaic tile, which Mr. Wyatt has a history of doing. There was then the decision that they needed to do an engineering study, whether the building that the mural is on can withstand the tile, because the estimation from Mr. White is it would be more than 1,100 5-pound tiles. So that would change the weight bearing in that building. Engineering report finally came back and said, yes, it can withstand this. And then the Arts Commission voted to approve the money in the September meeting of 2022. Council approved the money in October of 2022, and the contract was sent to Mr. Wyatt in December of 2022. At that time, Mr. Wyatt came back and said that he is not able to oversee this project and he is not able to participate. There were some discussions on whether he could guide other muralists or other muralists could participate under his supervision. And Jay communicated with him in the past month to verify that, and he said he is no longer interested in participating. So we have to find a solution on what the community would like done with this mural. And just from a financial logistical perspective, the money that was allocated previously was $286,000. We have to think if that money is being gone. The money cannot just be shifted over to a new artist or a new assignment, because the money was approved for a very specific artist at a very specific time. So doesn't mean that it won't be reapproved, but the process has to go through again. And because it is so different now and the timing is different, I imagine it's going to be much more expensive to do it than $286,000. So and there will be a couple questions on whether or not the community wants this money invested in a mural that is not done by the original artist, whether council wants to invest this much money in a mural not done by the original artist, because it is no longer this Richard Wyatt original. It will be refurbished and it will be professional. It's not going to be like the maid who cleaned the Jesus in Spain, but it will not be a Richard Wyatt mural tile project. So what we need to do is engage with the community, get their thoughts, let them know what the issues are that we have. And again, I'd like to point out, as I said, that the Arts Commission has approved everything every step of the way. This is not about the Arts Commission saying we do not want to do this. This is life. This is the way it is, and this is when we're doing things with city money.
Oh, that's the way it looks now.
Yeah. And that's photos a couple years old. So
Isn't
I
that
encourage
great?
everybody on the commission to go look at the mural in person if you have not already. The challenge is it's a big mural and it is on the south facing wall.
Is there any way to find an artist that paints in the same realistic venue to fix the mural?
Oh, sure. Anything's possible.
Oh.
So you could find another painter to paint the mural. You could find somebody to refurbish his painting mural. But let's be honest, it's going to fade again in 3 to 5 years. Now, there are other ways. It doesn't need to be tile. I had a conversation with an artist who's doing Pillars project, and he does murals with automotive paint on aluminum. Because you can use automotive paint, which does not fade, and you can blend it the way you can in a mural, but it has to be on a non-porous flat surface. So you can't do automotive paint on that. It's a plaster finish. So there are other ways around it. What needs to happen is you need to meet with the community, you need to discuss the project and the limitations. And even if Mr. Wyatt said, yes, I will do it, it's 2 years completion doing tile. That was in his original budget. So this is a project that is going to be ongoing. So we need some ideas. We need to consult with experts. And then if we then find a mosaic muralist, somebody who has this exact experience, it still needs to go through the procurement and the approval process. So this is not a matter of us saying, oh, I know somebody who does little kitchen tiles, they can do it. You got the job. It has to go through procurement because of the price point of this. Okay. So what we need is we want to create a subcommittee. We will then be interfacing with the community, come back to the commission in a couple months and make recommendations that has the support of the community. Knowing that this is the heart of the community. So we need their input and we need their support.
Can we just back up for a second? I don't know if this is the time to have this conversation, but, the cost to me is, it's up there. I mean, that, and when I think about, you know, taxpayers and funding, and I understand, you know, it's all been approved, and that's great. To me, the bigger question is, I think that when we approve murals in the future going forward, there's got to be a time frame on it, because they are going to be, you know, at some point fade or buildings change, and it can't be the commission's ongoing responsibility to maintain those things that, you know, because they serve a purpose at that time. So I think I think for me, I think it's a bigger picture in terms of, you know, we really do need to put some type of time frame on things that we do for public art, and make sure that if it is tile, the tile will last.
Yeah.
Metal will last. I mean, steel for the most part will last. So, but I think that we just have to be realistic, and, you know, something that's 26 years old or whatever you said it was, that at some point it needs to be retired. If it's not redone.
I respect that, and, you know, Commissioner Ramirez came to me with somebody who wanted us to help with a mural on the side of their building. I was like, south facing, I'm not doing these south facing murals.
Right.
You know, I think that we know these things now moving forward. So we will not be initiating any projects that have these sort of issues moving forward.
Right. Okay.
But we still have, you know, our responsibility is twofold in the commission. It is bringing new art into the commission, into our collection, and then maintaining our existing art. And this is a piece we have to maintain, because this is in our collection. There's other pieces that we have to maintain and need a lot of work too. The totem pole in Victoria Park is rotting.
Mhm.
We can't just remake a totem pole. So you may go, whoever's on the subcommittee may go to the community say, you know what, we'd rather new art. We'd rather you take you know, come up with some new art here. I don't know. That's for the subcommittee to come back and say, and then present that concept to the commission. And then again, the commission will vote on it. Needs a majority to pass. It will then go to staff. They will write up their report explaining why what happened, and then it will go to council. And then it will be initiated again. Now, no, if we decide we're gonna find somebody to do the repair of the tiles and matching his design, we'll have to go all the way through that process and then go to procurement to find that ideal tilist. And that ideal tilist then will have to come here and do site inspections. You know, so I think when we meet with the community, we need to let them know this is a 3 to 5 year project. This is not happening next year, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So is there anybody that would like to participate and join the subcommittee and interface with the community on this project?
I would.
Okay, great. Shonda, are you gonna participate in the subcommittee, or do you want to set that out?
I would like to participate, and I also would like to add that the community, we've come to the community several times with this project, and they really would love this mural to be refurbished. I don't know what other solutions that can come from it, because they're really adamant about this particular mural. But it'd be wonderful to have a committee again to go through this again. But just a heads up, it's going to feel like to them and to me, like we're getting the runaround on this mural. I mean, I live in this community, and they've been fighting for this mural for 2 decades. So there's a lot of heart and passion behind this. So I believe that Chris went and talked to the community yesterday, and it'd be wonderful if he had some feedback on his introductions that he did.
Thank you, Shonda. Yes, I went to the Desert Highland Gateway Estates, their community action meeting last night. Just introduced myself, And just wanted to listen in and hear what, they were thinking about. I know they had brought up concepts of, an asphalt arch project, which we have on the agenda later today. But if this is an ongoing, conversation, I think having the ad hoc committee, that could kind of get a refresh and actually work towards a solution, I think would be best. So, I'd be happy to join as well. I was there last night, and so, we can maybe all tag team this together.
Jay, how many people can we have on an ad hoc committee with it?
3 would be, maximum without it being a quorum of the commission.
And do you feel that that the chair or the vice chair should be on it, or it can be just 3 commissioners?
It can be any 3 commissioners. Yeah.
So this ad hoc committee will be Christopher Ramirez, Carlos Severa, and Shonda Bevo.
Do we need a motion for that?
Do we need a motion? For a subcommittee to volunteer,
I think if we're all here, we can do a motion. I'm not going to go.
make a motion. Barry,
I will make a motion that we create an ad hoc committee to meet with the Desert Highland Gateway community to discuss the Richard Wyatt mural, with the members being Commissioners Ramirez, Silvieri, and Bevo.
I second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Next item, our next scheduled meeting is December 20th. And we can keep that as our regular meeting. It's a little close to the holidays. I'm not sure what people's travel schedule was. And we could do, if we wanted to keep it, that's fine. There's been discussion separately on doing a study session, and Jay was helpful enough to send to me what a study session is. And the study session essentially, according to our commission guidelines in Palm Springs, is exactly like a regular meeting, except it's not in this conference room. So if we were reviewing the mural at Desert Highland, we could have our study session there, so the entire commission could go there and inspect the mural together. Technically, we're not supposed to be together in public more than a quorum. So if we wanted everybody to be there at once, we would hold a study session in that community center so we could all go see the mural. Or if we want to do one in Demuth Park, because we were doing art in Demuth Park. So that's the role of a study session. We don't have, and again, that everyone is publicly recorded as minutes. We can only discuss things that are on the agenda. The major difference with a study session is we can't vote on anything and we can't decide anything. So, and if we wanted to move the meeting from December 20th, we could hold a special meeting. And a special meeting can be done anytime. We just need to post it 24 hours before it happens and post the agenda 24 hours before it happens. So I guess the question is, did we want to do keep our meeting on the 20th? I don't know what people's holiday schedules are. Or if we wanted to do some sort of special meeting where we change the date.
I'm open,
I will be out of town.
Or does that delay any votes that may be important?
Well, we could hold a special meeting. We could do one the week before.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm asking, like, the choices between a study session or possibly a special meeting.
Yeah, or keep the 20th.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just planning ahead so that they'll help some people with their travel and holidays and that. Okay.
Yes, I travel for the holidays. I'm not from here, and all of my family is back in Denver, and that is the day I'm actually traveling.
Okay. Anybody else would like to move that date? Or is everybody fine?
so know your date.
Well, we can move it if we want to, or we can keep it on the 20th.
I'm fine with doing it, I know, yeah, I'm indifferent, it doesn't matter.
Chris?
I'm indifferent as well. I know it is the holidays. If we do need to have a special meeting, I know we do have a lot of work on our plate, so
yeah,
we can always approve something, or hold something if we need be. Like you mentioned the week before, we can try to maybe tackle some things by the end of the year as well.
Yeah.
So I'm open to that as well if we need to cancel this, do a special meeting there.
Chandra, are you fine keeping it on the 20th?
Yeah, if there's an option of Zoom in case anything comes up, because even the week of Christmas, it's still busy. for me, so I'm open to that.
So let's just keep it on the 20th,
And would you want it to be a study session or just a regular meeting?
regular meeting.
Okay, very good.
I was
And
just
The study,
articulating this.
the study session, can we schedule that for January? Or maybe have a study session before Melissa goes out of town, so she doesn't feel left out, we have stuff together for that. I don't know if that's pushing the envelope too much, or if that's putting too
Well-
much on our plate.
What would be the point of the study session? That could be covered in our regular meeting.
So I thought we had the option of a study session and a meeting, so it's one or the other?
I would do a special meeting. Because study session, we can't vote on anything. We can only discuss them. It's kind of
Right.
so- it's-
And I believe Melissa brought up before that it was important for all of us to get together in order to solidify the commission. So everyone's brought up to date with all the information, make sure everybody has all everything.
Yes,
Well,
thank
we
you,
could just-
Shana. That is,
I
yeah,
mean,
I feel like that is something that I still feel like I'm missing.
yeah,
And I would like to just bring everything together and still have that meeting to kind of understand where things are going.
Do we feel we need to have a study session? We could just move the meeting to the week before or 2 weeks before.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. Like if we wanted to do it before the holidays.
Yeah.
Just so we can. Hit the new year card.
Okay, so Jake, why don't you send some dates around? That would work, and then we could combine them with a big chunk of it being sort of okay. Overall overarching status.
We're thinking more.
and
study
forgive
session.
me, the reverb in the room is a little bit distorted, so I'm not understanding. Are we able to get a study session and a meeting, or you're saying it's one or the other? I just want to get that clarity, because I would like to meet the other commissioner's needs of what she really wants to be able to be a part of the commission.
Well, we can do a meeting a week if we wanted to. It's really, what our schedules are and what the needs are. So we could absolutely do a study session, because if it's really more just a project overview and whole departmental overview, that doesn't need us voting on anything. That would just need to be, again, it's agendized and it's videotaped, so it's not this free-flowing discussion where we're sitting around drinking coffee and eating donuts. But it can absolutely be done. I would probably suggest we move that to January, because we do have some work that we need to get approved in December. And there may be some stuff, and then I do know if you guys are doing your subcommittee to get that happening. And again, even though we're gonna be here on the 20th, not everybody else will be here on the 20th that we may need to meet with. And I know Chris and Tom have a lot going on at the airport. So,
Could we sort of combine these concepts in a way so that we still have, whether it's a meeting or a special meeting, so that if there are things that we need to vote on, those are agendized, and then there's a big chunk of the agenda left for general project update overviews.
Yes, you can have a special meeting, conduct business and allocate, say, the rest of the meeting for more of the general overview, orientation type of discussion for the remainder of the meeting.
I would suggest we do that. In terms of the date, I'm fine with the 20th, but the week earlier would be fine for me too.
Well, I think what's key for the project overview is to have all the commissioners present rather than anybody being by Zoom. So if that's a matter of then doing a meeting, whether it be a study session or even a special meeting on a non-Wednesday, that makes sense to me. I think that, yeah, it's, even just having this conversation with two of the members being on Zoom is tough.
And I should note, I think I brought it before, that we're going to find out soon if Zoom will even be an option after the end of this calendar year, December 31st. So as of January 1st, 2024, we may need to have all meetings in person. What we're waiting for is a update and report from our city attorney and city council on December 14th, I believe.
Okay. January 14th?
December 14th.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's keep the December 20th meeting right now, and then Jay will circulate some available times that we may do a study session on discussion of these first 2 weeks of January.
Sure.
Great, thank you.
And also, if I can add, in that study session, that the rules and regulations, all the bylaws and all the things that we need to discuss for the commission, be present then, because I know that there were some things that we discussed in the past and it hasn't gotten approved by council, and that's still, and you, I just wanted to also call that to attention, Chair, that that may be a great time for all of us to do that as well, to at least get it in the hands of everybody and that we're all on the same page.
Jay, could you send copies or links to everyone of the current ordinances, not only for the Public Arts Commission, but also the mural ordinances?
Sure.
I don't think it's worthwhile to send what we submitted to council, because that's been 2 years.
Some of it's still relevant.
No, but I'm
That's
saying.
the stuff that's relevant.
Whatever we do, we need to resubmit. So,
True.
You know,
right.
and I think we're different lawyers, and that was 3 managers ago.
Maybe we can bring that up at the study session.
Thank you. That's what I want to get at. Thank you.
But this is to circulate those now so people have time to read them, rather than walking into the study session and getting them. Number 3, next steps for utility box projects impacted by the backup battery storage boxes installed at the top of artwork. Jay heard back from engineering on these, and they gave what I thought was kind of pointed and directional feedback. And again, what they said verbatim was, we don't have any objection to the artist painting over the newly installed boxes. However, it is appropriate for you to tell the commission and the artist a few things. All utility boxes are subject to maintenance, removal, and replacement without prior notification to anyone. The paint does not make the utility boxes artwork. They are functional traffic equipment. The artist will not be notified prior to any work required to maintain our traffic signal operational. The utility boxes may be replaced in their entirety without prior notification. So, does anybody have any comments?
Sure, my comment would be, I mean, we're again painting ourselves into a corner, literally, because we're trying to maintain something that doesn't, I mean, could be taken away in 2 days. So why spend the money, quite honestly? I mean, I know unfortunately that the one sample that we saw, that was unfortunate because it clearly is, it really does distract from the original art, but you know, it is what it is, and I just can't see putting more money into the project. Yeah, unfortunately.
Any other comments?
How often are those things replaced, or? I mean,
Whenever they want, whenever they
Really?
get upgrades and equipment.
And nobody knew they were going in.
yes,
So that's their point, is we will continue to upgrade equipment when we have to upgrade equipment.
yeah, I agree with Tom. I think it's. I don't think it's worth it, just spend money on it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a project that we should abandon all the way. I mean, for the mere fact that there's cities around the world, the nation, this country, that this project has been extremely successful. And now I'm seeing that though those boxes are in other cities, these other aluminum boxes are going on top of that in those cities as well. I believe in order to have like a cohesive beautification of Palm Springs, there must be a uniformity of the boxes, and something should be done and money should still be spent for either the project for all the boxes that have already been painted to be painted a solid color or some kind of Palm Springs design. But I believe that it shouldn't just go away, because it is one of the few areas that we're able to have artists of a lesser that can paint, you know, for a little bit of an amount of money, and they can do it, and it's fun for them, and it beautifies the city. I don't believe that this is a project that should go completely away.
Yeah, I mean, it's true that like lots of cities have projects like this, so I don't know if other cities might have different processes for, you know, work coordinating with engineering so that the art is taken into consideration. It seems that going forward, like any artist who would be presented with these parameters would probably think twice about working on a new utility box if it could be, you know, taken away at any moment. So I guess I kind of agree that it seems like kind of unworkable with these constraints to continue to promote it and seek out new pieces. Unless we think that unless we want to take the time to change the process that's presented here.
Melissa, any comments?
Did you say?
Oh, sorry. No, I agree with Shonda on this one. I think it's not something that should be completely abandoned. But I think from our initial conversations, we talked about there is room in the budget for kind of maintaining them. So just figuring out what that looks like. Like, what is the actual cost for this going forward? And she's right, like specifically the piece about inclusivity and people who are actually getting their art out there and like these struggling artists. And so I think it's really important that we keep something like this. I mean, again, keeping the cost in mind, but I do believe you said that we have space for this.
Ramirez, comments?
Well, I was just gonna ask, are there other city infrastructure items that could be, you know, where it would be safe, or it wouldn't be replaced? Because I definitely hear both sides. It's like, right, like we do need to have a platform where there is space for people to, you know, express themselves through something, but also to, if this is gonna be a project where we're spending money and it could get replaced, like if I were an artist painting a box and it like went away, I'd be kind of bummed, like all those hours that went into it. So I don't know the frequency of these replacements, but it really could just be replaced at any time. So I don't know if there's like a middle ground or something that we could see that could be new and different. I know the asphalt, or there could be some other, you know, interesting thing, light post or whatever. But maybe we just need to kind of put our heads together and think if there's something new that we can move forward, because you know, I still being able to, you know, hit all the elements of the good parts of why this project existed, but not have it just be a brick wall that we can't go through because it's just gonna get replaced. So those are my thoughts. I don't know what the solution is yet, but I don't think we should, maybe continue to put money into it, but maybe there's a new platform or something else that we can do that we can come up with.
You know, I like the foundation of this project, much like the benches, and I've been pretty vocal about that, but I think that it's important for us as a commission and as a city to have opportunities for up and coming artists, non-traditional artists, maybe retired artists. You know, not every artist can submit a $50,000 sculpture concept. I get that. And I think it's important for us to start small. Just get people starting small. And if we continue to let people think that this is a community that supports art and artists. I, however, think that the utility boxes program has run its course, particularly because so much of it is outside of our control. You know, we've had situations where some of the boxes were painted that were actually not the city's boxes, they were the county boxes. And I think we can find a solution to achieve our objective goals of finding ways to keep young artists engaged and give them opportunity over things that we control. The benches are a perfect example. You know, the benches are there. They're not going to be changed and no one's going to do anything to them. I've seen other cities where people paint the garbage cans in the city, or flower pots or something like that. I think that as you and I discussed, the Asphalt Art Program is a way to achieve this for up and coming artists. You know, we've historically focused on, we get one artist to do 4-way crosswalk, but we could have 4 artists doing one walk on each crosswalk. Knowing full well that that will not be there forever. That will be considered temporary art because it probably will disappear in 2 years. That's okay. We let the artist know in advance. I also think there's an opportunity to do something with the shade program where we maybe create shades that end up being in the public parks and they can be painted by non-traditional up and coming artists as well. So if we can't control the canvas, let's create a canvas, is my suggestion. And my understanding is because we voted to stop the program, any money we want for maintenance needs to be reapproved. And that means it then needs to go through the commission and the staff and then council. So. Yeah.
So asphalt art projects could be something where, I do like that idea, multiple artists in one intersection, but also existing, you know, pieces maybe throughout the city like you had mentioned, so.
The value of it was it gave the people in the community a sense I've created something in my community. You know, I recall before I joined the commission, there were complaints that, oh, you're bringing all these muralists from LA. There's a lot of talent here. So let's give them a canvas so we can create that canvas on things that we can control. That's just my feeling. You know, I'm one vote on the commission. I think we could do better. I think we can use this as, you know, not to sound Oprah, but we can use it as a learning experience. Let's not do things that we can't control. And the key thing to me was, again, if you go to our ordinances, we are responsible. Everything that we touch becomes a piece of art in our collection, and we maintain it. And engineering department is saying these are not pieces of art, so we can't use our money to maintain them.
Right. Just to follow up on that comment, yeah, I mean, even just reading this email, all utility boxes are subject to maintenance to removal. Yeah. Will not be notified. I mean, yeah, my piece was removed.
They're basically saying it could go tomorrow. Even if we all agreed and wanted to do it, they could say it's gone tomorrow, and we're redoing the utility boxes. We have 2024 utility boxes everywhere. Now, the ones that they revised were all at the traffic signals. So utility boxes that are not at traffic signals will not be affected. There's a really fun one in Francis Stevens Park. It's just a utility box. It's not connected to traffic signals. It's there. So it doesn't mean we're going to go around painting the ones that are there in existence and covering them up. They will still be there. But I thought it was interesting that it said these are not pieces of art. Okay.
Yeah, when the program was created, there was a different person on that's no longer there, and that wasn't the consensus, but it seems like it's the consensus now.
Yeah, and again, it's, you know, Sean, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff behind the scenes of 3 chairs for 3 city managers ago, so I feel the pain. And we just have a new head of
You haven't
buildings.
felt the pain yet, buddy. You haven't felt the pain yet.
I'm wearing black today. I'm feeling a lot of pain.
I mean, to piggyback on that, I feel that this is a program that you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And since you guys aren't midwives, I understand why you're doing it. So.
But I think, again, this is, the utility boxes are not ours to paint. They're a utility. And so what I want to do is take the same intent and move it to something that we can control. Any other comments on that? Cruise airport mural design, over to you, Commissioner Ramirez.
So there should have been, I believe we all received an email, with the two top submissions, that have met the requirements. Hopefully we all were able to take a look at that.
Bless you, Carlos.
I think it was a copy.
No, I'm sorry, it was a cough.
Oh, I was blessing you anyway.
Cool, so the subject of the mural, Palm Springs welcomes you. So in the airport, through one of the concourses, we had taken a walk through the airport, Tom, Gary and myself. And just to do kind of an assessment, this wall in particular, the requirements, here we go, yep. So was able to best represent Palm Springs. And so we have, if you keep scrolling down, Jay, let's see, so here's the first option. So you can kind of see it right here. You can keep scrolling down, Jay, please, let's see. So these are the elements inside of the mural. So let's see, Palm Springs welcomes you. So inside here, looks like there's San Jacinto Mountains in there, blue skies, palm trees, Agua Caliente Casino, the aerial tramway. You can see that off there in the A. East Valley Polo Fields, the swimming pool landscape, film festival and entertainment, native cactus and plants, it looks like. This one looks like a martini and social culture, tennis, golf, and outdoor life, mid-century modern design. You see that there in the I and the N. Lounge and sunny lifestyle, staple, or state of California flag, LGBTQ plus equality flag, band of Thrilla Indians. There's symbols there. You can keep scrolling down, Jay. Looks like this is one of the concepts that we had received, and then this is the second option from another artist. You can keep scrolling down, Jay. Let's see, so a vintage comic book or newspaper, Palm Springs, airports, pile of staff and mountains. Looks like these are a few of the variations. And it looks like these were the first concepts that we had received as well. So these are the two submissions. I don't know if we want to vote on these tonight, so we can get these moving.
Yeah, if you could scroll back, Jay. Oh, sorry. Let's stop with that one there. I just want to point out that the two vertical gray stripes are actually poles that are probably 2 feet from the wall. And then the square in the middle of where it says palm is a water fountain.
Yeah, that's correct. And was one of these murals yours, Logan?
Yes.
It is, okay. Is it E, A?
Option A.
Option A, sorry.
Since we have the artist here, would you like to explain your mural for us?
Absolutely.
The mic is yours. Make sure you turn it on so it's green.
Okay. Yeah, so as was described, I really wanted something that represented the reasons that people were visiting Palm Springs and coming through the airport. Like if they were here for polo or tennis or just to experience the wonderful, comfortable atmosphere of Palm Springs and its history, that they would recognize the reasons that they were here when they passed this mural next to the restrooms. Yeah, the theme behind it was like a postcard as well with the white border going around it. And yeah, I just wanted to represent all of the different aspects that make Palm Springs so great. I asked a lot of family and friends what they thought of when I said Palm Springs, and then took their answers to try to represent as best I could. And this is what I got. So.
Are there any comments on the two designs?
I have a question about the second concept, concept B. When you look at the concepts, when you go further down, you can actually see that they use faces of color. Why did they choose this one versus the other one?
That you can answer.
Yeah. Wait, what was your question, Melissa?
Yeah, what's the question?
So if you scroll down to the other concepts when they show you that one below it, you can see that the man standing in front of Palm Springs with the purple vest, he looks maybe native or indigenous. And then you have an African-American man sitting next to him, and they just look like people of color, which I think is amazing. So why did they choose the one where they took out the color in the people's faces versus this one?
Oh, I don't think they chose one. These are just.
Yeah, it's just
different
examples,
submissions.
right?
Yeah. And actually, Melissa, I asked, if you, Jay, we could scroll down one more. To the original ones. I asked for some racial diversity in these designs.
Perfect. Yeah, that when I first saw these, that's what I thought, the same thing. Like you can't continue to put more white faces around the city. And so I just want to make sure that we do get them represented and the color is still included, because that is important.
It's I think the retro approach is fun. But the downside of the retro approach is it was a time in society that was not available to everybody. So if we can have retro dynamic, but bring it up to date, which is why I said let's get some racial diversity in there.
Right.
And that sort of clip art feel is fun, but again, it is leave it to Beaver white people.
Right, exactly.
And that's reinforces some perceptions of Palm Springs we don't want.
Right.
So let's get some racial and gender diversity in there.
Great. So the concept B would not be exactly that first picture. It could potentially be that second picture.
Oh, sure. It could be
one on top versus the one on bottom.
On each one.
Okay. Great.
So if you say, I really like the one of the African-American pilot and the Hispanic flight attendant. Yeah, it's there. I think the other ones were just color blocking in mid-century colors.
Okay.
Right. Rather than meaning these skin tones.
Great.
My hesitation on this one, and I'll just use the design, I'm not focusing on the color, is the water fountain in the middle of Palm. Kind of throws me visually. And I'm wondering if it would work if the artist moved Welcome to Palm Springs to the section A. And then he could move his figures around the water fountain so it's not as in the middle of Palm. I don't know what other people feel about that.
Oh, that's now I see that the gray square.
Yeah, that's a water fountain.
Yeah.
I mean, I walk past that all of the time at the airport and it doesn't bother me. So the idea to have a water fountain in the middle of it's for me, it's not distracting, but I don't, in my mind, it's not distracting. So.
I think it's okay to have it in the mural. I just don't want it in the word Palm Springs. That's what I'm saying. If you maybe switch so you had two figures and the other one, they could be just not as in your face, but maybe I'm just being too finicky.
No, I agree with you, and you can play with the figures on the other side, but then Palm Springs stays intact, yeah.
Yeah, if we're wanting people to, snap a photo for Instagram in front of this, I think it'd be more effective if the Welcome to Palm Springs is very legible and not interrupted by either the beams or the water fountain.
And could you scroll up to the first one? Okay. I didn't see any of your finished work with this submission. Is this representative of what your style is, or is this considered a sketch?
This is considered a sketch that I just used acrylic paint for. Obviously, because the scale would definitely be like a lot more detailed, right? Because this is just on like a piece of paper. But But yeah, I'm primarily a figurative painter, but I have done murals in the past as well.
Yeah, this is a challenging design because it's mostly typography, so the figural components need to balance and.
So the colors in the background, the blue, would be a flat blue, not as it is now, more like watercolors.
Correct.
Okay, everything will be flat, the colors.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, so since we are asking for revision on the other one, are there any revisions we want to ask on this one?
I have a question. Did you consider creating a piece that expanded the whole length of the wall, like with section A and section B, I think, in the schematic?
I did, the main idea I had for it was to just carry the landscape with the mountains, the desert and the sky over. And then have, more vegetation as well.
Okay, but all the text would be in that
Yes.
A section.
Okay,
So, quick, oh, go ahead.
is that Shonda?
Yes, I had a question. So aesthetically, if I'm understanding you all correctly, the person will stand like in front of the water fountain in order to take that selfie? So, so the mural should wrap around them? Or, oh, okay, I see now that this is only in section A, it doesn't go the whole span
Yeah.
of it for the. Okay.
Yeah, and so on the other one, it's this area plus this whole area, and Palm Springs is right in the middle of where the water fountain is. There's a thing, maybe moving the Palm Springs to the other side and figures around that one. I'm not sure. That's up to the
so
artist.
section B will be a continuation of the landscape, you said.
Yes.
Wouldn't feel a little bit, as a painter, wouldn't feel a little bit too squeezed on one side, and then the other side is just a landscape?
I don't necessarily think so because of the vegetation that I would put in, desert cactus and things. But I did think the same thing that you were thinking, Gary, that because the water fountain was just too problematic.
Yeah.
And people could still stand, on either side of section A and take photos.
I'm a creative director, not an art director, but perhaps if you do decide to revise it with the thing, you could leave the Palm Springs solo here and do much stronger typography for welcomes you over on the other side.
On the other side,
By
yeah.
the water fountain. Because welcomes you disappears for me here.
That's
So,
what I was thinking. as well.
continue your background and maybe just do welcomes you big and stronger typography as a design. And then you can work around the water fountain with that. Okay,
Definitely.
so I think we need revisions on both. And then Chris, when do you think you can get them? If we can get them within a week, 2 weeks before our next meeting, we can do a special meeting just to vote on these. We can all do it remotely. Cool. To get this going, and then you can get on the agenda for the airport commission calendar in December. Okay.
That's the 20th.
Okay. Great. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is back to what I was talking about with managing temporal budgets as well. We have a need for the signage for Red Dragon, which was installed in Las Palmas. As you recall, we voted on to accept that. That is now installed. They're going to be doing a dedication. There's no sign for it. So we need to do a sign for that. And rather than having to go back to council every time for signage, I asked Jay to put together just a $4,000 signage budget that we can tap into. And then the intent also is, as the other commissioners are doing our inventory assessment and they go out and inspect things, if some signs need to be replaced, we will have money to tap into that, and we don't need constant council approval on everything. So that's all it is, a simple budget that we can tap into, okay? $4,000. Okay. Would someone like to make a motion on that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve funding in the amount of $4,000 to write signage for the public art projects.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi,
Aye. Great. Project updates, and we're trying to get everybody out of here in 15-20 minutes. Okay, Beautiful Shade. Beautiful Shade was mentioned as an aside at our last commission meeting, and our good friends at the Palm Springs Post mentioned it. I was immediately contacted by the chair of the Public Arts, or the Parks and Recreation Commission, saying, I love this idea, I want to work with you on it. So I quickly put together a one sheet and went to the next Parks Commission meeting because it was too late to get on their agenda. I did it as public comment. And I just said, here's what we discussed, here's the intent. And we'd like to work with you together on that. The entire Parks Commission enthusiastically said, we love the idea, how can we make this happen? I went back in time and looked at previous projects we've done like this. And in 2014, the Arts Commission partnered with the Sustainability Commission. And they did the bike rack program. And they did a call for artists to design bike racks as a way to promote cycling in the city. And Sustainability and the Arts Commission did it. Each artist got $5,000, and that's how you saw the bike racks, the big spider in Sunrise Park, the turtle in Francis Stevens Park. There was one called Palm Spring, which was a big spring that was downtown. There was another one in front of the hotel, which I don't remember what it's called now. It used to be Hard Rock. It's where Pretty Faces is, whatever that hotel was. Sorry, hotel. Anyway, so there are 5 around the city. So I thought, okay, so what we can do is we can partner with the Parks Commission and Sustainability, because the idea of shade equity is all about sustainability as well. So I am on the agenda for the Sustainability Commission meeting next week, and I will be joined by the chair of the Parks Commission, and I believe the vice chair of the Parks Commission. Everybody wants to get together on this one. And so my thinking is, we will structure this financially, is we will do a call for artists, and we will say, here's what we want done. And the Public Arts Commission will fund the prototypes for this. And then if committees or communities want multiple of this, they will need to apply for a community grant from Measure J. Or from general funding, something to that effect. So we're not going to be funding 15 flowers, shade structures. We'll pay for one to be done. And then the community can see those. Interestingly, there was a presentation done where the convention center, for their, I think, 5-year plan, they talked about what they need to do to keep people at the convention center. Shade structures are a big thing for them. So they said, when you got your stuff happening, let us know. So, and then simultaneously, I was discussing with Commissioner Tom about the opportunities with shade structures. I said, again, we don't need to create something that is painted by one artist. We can create a design, whether it be a big flower or whatever, and every one of those can then be painted by local artists. We own that. So, and if it's on the steel and it's this big steel shade structure, they can use automotive paint to paint it, and that stuff is durable. So this to me is a big program that we can either make very, very small, where we have these shade structures that are $3,000 to $5,000 each, or we can do one, maybe they want a really big one in Sunrise Park, and it's much more architectural, and it's a $50,000 shade structure there. Don't know yet. But as I said, Parks Commission is behind this as a sustainability. So that's all I have to report on that. Pillars of Palm Springs update. Every artist has signed their contract. They're working fast and furiously on it. Jay and I are holding their hands through every step of dealing with City Hall on this. Their City Hall feels so strongly about this. They've hired an outside communications firm to do press on this. So that's good for us. And I approved the first press release today, and that will be going out next Monday. And so they have a lot of plans that they want to do with this. One of the things that we discussed was partnering with the Human Rights Commission in April and making April 15th World Art Day a big event, not only with the unveiling of these sculptures, but also maybe doing some sort of discussion with high school students on what these issues are, talking about equality, talking about community, talking about civility, and the Human Rights Commission to get involved in that as well. So the more we can get other commissions involved with our work, I think the more representative the community will ultimately be. Okay. Next update is art collection inventory.
Yes. Commissioner Favo and I are working on updating the master list sort of inventory of the entire collection. We have a list of just under 100 pieces. That is a bit out of date. It doesn't have a lot of the newer pieces that have been added to the collection in, like, say, the last 5 years or so. And there's just like a lot of holes or like a lot of pieces we have information about, like the materials or whether it was a donation or a purchase, but we're missing those details on a good chunk of them. So we've split the list in half and are gonna be going through line by line to sort of update what we can, and we hope to bring that back to you probably in January to share and get some thoughts on. I did want to check in and see what other sort of details we should be mindful of as we're creating this sort of database. Chair Armstrong suggested noting like signage details. Yeah, like the procurement information. I'm going to try and create like a separate column for that. Details in terms of size, materials, that kind of thing. All in the grand scheme of getting us to a point where we have a clear picture of what we have in the collection and can and promote it to the public. So I think too, in the coming months, we'll want to talk about probably getting some like outside support for digital outreach, whether that's an app or website. So we can promote different aspects of the collection. We've talked about art walks and those kind of things. So more to come on that.
Yeah, Jay, this is a question which you will not like, but I don't believe we have signed agreements of ownership of all this artwork. So at some point, when we get this complete list, we're gonna need to put in there, do we have signed agreements on everything? And we also should create a separate inventory list of the benches, because those are technically public art. And murals, which may not be on the, we may not think of them as art, but they are. And even the utility boxes, we should put it not as an attached agenda, but we should have a complete listing of that.
Yeah, Shonda and I talked about some of that. Shonda, did you want to add anything?
No, not at this time. I'm only thinking that maybe we should add another column of if this piece should be restored or taken out of the collection, or some kind of checks and balances of what's going to happen with the piece after we discover it.
Yeah, we have some of that information for quite a bit of the collection, but I would say it's probably 5 years old at this point for a lot of it. So yeah, we'll also be checking that. There'll be several things that I'm gonna follow up with Jay on. There's some inconsistencies about where a piece is located. I think for a lot of the pieces in City Hall, they were noted as being displayed in an office or not on display anymore, depending on like what list I was looking at. So I'll be following up with Jay to get details for that kind of stuff.
And to your point, Shonda, we can absolutely look at decommissioning artwork that we think is just, beyond. And, back to the totem pole in Victoria Park, I was talking to another art person about that, and they said, well, traditionally totem poles rotted and they just fell down on the ground. That's what happens to them. That is the art behind it. And then they put another one up there. So, we sort of focus on making it perfect, and sometimes art isn't perfect. I have noticed that Rainmaker looks like it needs to be painted again. Those rods get that white on them very, very quickly, and I know they just did them 18 months ago. So that's a big discussion coming down. So, and then, the one thing I will say is on those Excel spreadsheets I gave you, check the tabs. The tabs have other pieces of artwork on them as well.
Yes, and I believe I tried to combine like 4 different spreadsheets into one.
Okay.
And actually, I think one of them was pretty complete. It just, the other ones had pieces here and there. And then Shonda just the other day showed me like a brochure that was produced in the last couple of years. So we need to make sure that that information is on there too.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4, asphalt art.
Asphalt art, yes, so, the chosen test site, and that was approved, is at the James Address Unity Center. As we were talking about the utility box projects, perhaps this could be that next wave. To be able to, have more canvases, let's just say within one crosswalk. Last night at the James Address Center at their meeting, I was speaking with the president, Cynthia Session, and, she's excited for this, so I think as well, we had chatted about, bringing in the community and seeing how we can, having one artist be that main guide, but then we can have the community also participate in. So, in addition to that, I've been in discussions with the Palm Springs Police Department from Sergeant Torres and Lieutenant Diegas, who I spoke with last night. He's gonna put me in contact with the traffic safety director in town. There have been a lot of accidents over just the past few weeks, from pedestrians to cyclists and just regular car accidents. Going back to studies of why this art could be great to increase public safety. I think this is another big issue that we can help kind of alleviate. Having this art intervention within the community, I think would be great. So we'll be able to get some of their high traffic zones and most common accidents, and I think being able to bring that into this art to be functional around the city.
Yeah, when we discussed this and approved it, we talked about getting the heat maps of where most of the accidents were from employees.
Yeah.
And because there was some resistance within city staff on doing this project, that's why we agreed to do this as a test program with this one. And we specifically chose an area that had some traffic issues, but was not downtown or in a high traffic area. And our pitch on this was, this is not meant to be on Palm Canyon or Indian Canyon or Sunrise and Ramon, which we know is the worst ever. Because that's where a lot of trucks go. And if we got some of these in areas that were more residential areas, maybe there's one on Duluth Park area, on Mesquite there. You're not gonna get as many heavy trucks which take off the paint on the road.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's good.
Yes,
So
it's just
we just have to sell this through as successful,
For sure.
and then I'm sure we'll get more.
Right, so there should be updates before next meeting on the 20th of December.
And this will be one that we do need to plan ahead with a lot of people.
Yeah.
In engineering, in city planning, just getting everything approved, because you're gonna have to shut down the street for 48 hours at least.
You can paint fast.
Well, you'll be painting at night.
And
Yeah.
Probably Parks Department also for access
Yeah.
to the Jacob Festival.
Yeah. Which goes back to my initial statement of we need to be cognizant of people's time. So. Jay, any reports? You mentioned maybe having in-person meetings in January.
That's correct. We're waiting for an update from our city attorney, who's kind of checking out how the laws are developing, because prior to COVID, it was required that commissions such as yourselves, councils, et cetera, meet in person. And so with COVID, you'll see on our agenda, we always have the pursuant to Assembly Bill 361 language, which allows meeting via Zoom, but that expires at the end of December, so meetings will begin in person, most likely. And so I just want to make sure commissioners plan accordingly.
I have a quick question on that. So Jake, just out of curiosity, does that also then eliminate Zoom public comment? Do those people have to appear in person?
It most likely would.
Okay.
It just depends on how each commission posts its meeting and whether or not those comments are available, because that was something also that came through COVID.
Okay. And is there any attendance protocol? What happens if somebody's off for like 4 meetings in a row? I say just
Actually,
you know.
Right. There are attendance protocols, 3 meetings in a row. Missing 3 meetings in a row, the chair could certify that happened for a particular commissioner, and that commissioner would immediately be removed from the commission.
Okay.
That's 3 meetings in a row or 25% of the meetings for that fiscal year, so.
So, we talked about 2 years ago about moving our meeting because we are at the same time as the airport commission meeting. And, it's hard for city council to join our meetings because they're generally on the airport commission meeting, as well as the city manager. And as we are getting more and more work with the airport, it's difficult for us. We do have a lot of big projects ahead of the airport. So I guess my question is, and this is for the commission, knowing we have to be in person in January, and people have lives, I fully get that and respect that. Is there other days that would be easier for you to schedule attendance with if you think you're gonna have a problem? Because I would push to move it away from the airport commission meeting. As I said, we have so much work ahead of us with that. Maybe it's just a Wednesday before or a Tuesday before. We have to make sure we're not at the same time as sustainability and parks and human rights, which we tend to be doing with. In Measure J, we don't really care
Mr. Chair, yes, that is one of the problems, is that the City of Palm Springs has several commissions and groups that meet. This is the large conference room we're in, and this is where regular meetings are held for all commissions at 5:30, which is actually in our ordinance that those happen at 5:30. So it has come up changing the date. We'd have to check calendars for the reservation of this room. And see what is available from there.
But if the commissioners have any, I know, Commissioner Favos in Los Angeles, a lot for her job. If Sean, if it's easier for you to say, hey, if we could do it on a Monday, it'd be easier for me, or Thursday for my schedule. I think, now's the time to speak up because we want everybody to be able to participate, knowing that it will be in person in January.
Yeah, I have the type of job that if I don't show up or I miss it, I miss my livelihood for my entirety of my life. So I have no predictions on what day. I know I'll do my best to make it, as I have in the future, and so I don't have a preference of day. Monday in the industry is callback days, Tuesdays are callback days, Wednesdays are callback days, Thursday are callback days. So I mean, it is what it is.
Okay. But Jay, if you could look at other available dates, as I said, so the airport commission is the one I want to get away from. Again, they're putting into their planning budget that a certain percentage of their overall operating budget goes towards public art for the next couple of years. We still would have to approve it and guide it through and find the artists for it. And as I said, Chris and Tom and I had a meeting there because they're in the middle of construction, and we've got the mural, and they have places where they want more murals, and we need to move a lot of the artwork, and unfortunately we need to be present at their commission meeting to present that. So if we can get away from them, that would be ideal.
And is that a big commission that they we're not going to do the gift of the Magi and they switch a date and we switch a date and all of a sudden we're off the same page? Are we switching versus them switching?
Okay, well, they have 20 commissioners.
Oh,
They have
okay. So I see we switch. Okay, I get you.
So there's someone from Rancho and Palm Desert and Coachella and India there, so it's harder for them to move.
Yeah, I was just making sure that they weren't trying to make the same accommodations that we were trying to make for them.
Yeah, we're the easier one to move, I think. Yeah, and of course, we can't do it at the same time as Human Rights Commission because Jay's leading that one. Yeah. Are there any other comments from the commissioners?
If we are picking a day, I throw Tuesday into the hat since it's going to be the third Tuesday of every month. I'm not sure if there's another commission that meets on that time, but
We'll look into that.
Any other questions, comments? Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I know, I told you. I looked